Sun Sports Talk. I'm Will.
And I'm Dylan.
And we're here to talk about sports.
Up first, we have the NFL playoff picture. And for the AFC, we have the Ravens in the number 1 seed at 10-3. Then the Dolphins, Chiefs, and Jaguars are 3-4 with a record of 8-5, as well as the Browns. And then the Steelers and the Colts rounded off at 7-6 each. Out in the bubble, we have 4 more teams at 7-6: the Bills, Bengals, Broncos, and Texans. In the NFC, the 49ers have clinched a playoff spot at 10-3. Then second, we have the Cowboys also at 10-3. The Lions are the 3rd seed at 9-4. And the Buccaneers are sneaking in at 6-7 because they have the number 1 division. Then the Eagles at 10-3 are in the 5 seed. Then we have the Vikings at 7-6 and the Packers at 6-7 on the 7 seed. The 2 teams that are eliminated from the playoffs and won't be able to make it are the New England Patriots at 3-10 and the Carolina Panthers at 1-12.
Overall, the Pats season has not been a good one. It's been very disappointing, especially with the offense. With Bill O'Brien, we'd expect a better offense, and also Mac Jones' 3rd season, we'd expect a better showing. But it ended up him being benched behind Bailey Zappi. And best game of the week?
For the best game of the week, in my opinion, is probably the Bills and the Chiefs, because that came down to the wire with an offsides call against Kadarius Toney. That put the game away for the Bills to win 20-17.
My best game of the week was probably the Ravens-Rams game. It was another game that was down on the wire, and also it was down in overtime, very high scoring, and the game-winning touchdown was off a punt return. So that was interesting. Up next, we're going to talk about fantasy football. To start, we're going to talk about running backs to start for this week. And a running back we should talk about is Rachaad White of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Overall, he's looked solid at running back, and he's playing the Packers, and the Bucs are playing the Packers next week. So Rachaad White should get a lot more carries, considering how bad the Packers defense is on runs. And then a running back you should sit is Kenneth Walker of the Seattle Seahawks. Honestly, the one thing that's holding him back is probably Zach Charbonnet. And also injuries that ties behind Kenneth Walker. And also Seattle's playing the Philadelphia Eagles, which is a tough defense. And then wide receivers to start are Odell Beckham Jr. And so basically with Odell, we think that we should start him because Beckham had a touchdown last week, and also he's playing the against the Rams, and also they're playing the Bengals, which is a very weak defense in secondary, and they can give up touchdowns very easily to wide receivers. So if you have a wide receiver start Odell Beckham Jr. A wide receiver sit is Gabe Davis of the Buffalo Bills. The one thing about Gabe Davis that I don't like is that Stephon Diggs is like taking control of the wide receiver core, and Gabe Davis can be like iffy at times, especially when targets are also given to the rookie Kincaid at tight end, and Josh Allen can run the ball more. So he tends to do that. And that ends our fantasy football part of the podcast. Next, we're going to talk about the NBA.
Over the weekend, there was the in-season tournament ended, and the Lakers ended up winning. They defeated the Pacers by a good margin. Anthony Davis and LeBron James were really good, and it sort of looked like glimpses of LeBron James and Kyrie over at Cleveland. Also, the in-season tournament was in my opinion, a very good thing for the NBA to add, because it added much more
Added much more excitement.
Yeah, towards the NBA season, and most of the teams wanted to win.
Yeah, especially on a spot in the season that's like kind of like dead in the regular season because you're not getting into anything interesting because the playoffs are not even close of happening, and also teams are starting to like form an identity, so it's like not like interesting to watch. But like later in the season, you can really get a sense of the playoffs and excitement as well, and just overall a huge success for the NBA.
Next, we're going to talk about the standings of the NBA. In the East, we have the Boston Celtics in first with a one-game margin over the Orlando Magic and the Milwaukee Bucks. In the West, the Minnesota Timberwolves have a two-game margin over the OKC Thunder, which is they're kind of a sleeper.
Something shocking in my opinion is that the Timberwolves are the first seed in the Western Conference. I would never expect that. I'd expect like the Nuggets or the Warriors or the Suns to maybe be the first, but the Timberwolves, that's definitely something to look forward to.
Also, the worst teams in each division are the Detroit Pistons at a 2-21 record, and they are on a losing streak of 20. Also, the San Antonio Spurs are 3-19 and on a losing streak of 17.
Honestly, both teams very disappointing, especially in the matter of like 20 games or less. It's just crazy.
Also, San Antonio is doing very bad considering they had the number one pick and got Wemby, which is very surprising that they're not doing so good.
Yeah, everyone was expecting Wemby to be Rookie of the Year this year, but I'm looking at Chet Holmgren for Rookie of the Year because he's looked much better in OKC.
Next, we're going to talk about baseball, and the big thing in baseball this week is that Shohei Ohtani got a historic contract with the Los Angeles Dodgers worth over $700 million. He deferred most of the money, so he's only getting $2 million a year, but he will be paid over time. And this leaves the Dodgers at a very good chance of winning the World Series because they have Freddie Freeman, Mookie Betts, and Shohei Ohtani, which are three of the best people in the league. And they're just like overall the team to beat this coming up season.
Is there a team that might like we should be looking forward to next year other than the Dodgers that could be like successful in a way?
Yes. Next year, the Chicago Cubs are looking really good because they just picked up two good pitchers, and they got another outfielder, Suzuki Suzuki. He's been doing really good, so they are another team to watch. Next up, we're going to talk about hockey. Hockey has been doing really good lately, and there's a bunch of players who have been doing good. Connor Bedard was the number one pick in the draft, and he has been doing really good. People say he's the next Connor McDavid. Nikita Kucherov has the most points in the league at 47. JT Miller from the Canucks at 40, and David Pastrnak and Nathan McKinnon tied at 39. The best goalie in the league so far has been Aiden Hill, who has a 1.87 save percentage, which is really good throughout this much in the season. In shutouts, he also has the second most. For Connor Bedard, he has 23 points already, which is most among rookies by far, and he is just off at the top 10 overall for skaters. Some things that have been surprising are that we thought the Bruins would, I think we had like high expectations for them, but they've been like very up and down lately, and that leaves the door open for like someone like the Rangers to be the number one team in the East. Also in the West, the Oilers, who have Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, have been doing not so good. They fired the head coach a couple weeks ago, and they have been doing better. Connor McDavid is now healthy, and he has been doing much better than he did at the beginning of the season.
Another team that I think will do well, especially in the Western Conference, is the Golden Knights, as they were last year's champion and they're leading the Pacific Division with 43 points.
Yes. One game to watch tonight, at least, is Chicago versus Edmonton. So it's Regard versus McDavid, who have been compared to by a lot. It's tonight at 10 p.m.
Thank you for watching. Bye.